Hi everyone, today our group gonna introduce you with the paper called Understanding Craft-Based Inquiry in HCI. Here's the structure of the whole paper. In the following slides, our group members will brief talk each topic with a summary. Here in the first summary, it offers an overview of the literature on craft-based approaches in HCI, namely by hybrid craft, digital craft, computational craft, and technocraft. And here's also some sample images on the right side. First of all, the hybrid craft means that everyday creative practices of using combinations of traditional low-tech crafts and digital materials, techniques, or tools to make interactive physical digital creations, especially focuses with the incorporation of digital audiovisual media. Digital craft means that the design and fabrication of physical artifacts by the use of digital tools. In some art and design schools, it is also defined by the combination of digital media, physical computing, and traditional craft approaches. Computational craft means computer-generated patterns for realizing handcrafts. Technocraft means a crafting approach or integrating craft with digital technology.
Hello everyone, so I'm gonna explain my part of the summary. So I got the methodology and three characteristics of craft-based research in HCI. So they're divided into three parts and it can be explained through combining, aligning and integrating analog and digital techniques and process, creating highly refined objects defined by attention to detail and aesthetics, creating knowledge through deep embodied engagement. So I can explain the first part, which is crafting in HCI can be understood as an extension of traditional crafting in which novel techniques and process of shaping digital technologies, therefore embedding digital abilities into physical materials, are integrated into the creative process as means of exploration and expression. The second part over here is in Senate views, craft enables the expression of an innate creative urge which drives the crafter to produce the best possible work by providing the practitioner with a profound feeling of satisfaction when producing quality results. Furthermore, craftsmanship places great importance on the finish of the crafted artifact with quality and individuality consulting two of its hallmarks. The third process is creating knowledge through deep embodied engagement, which is questioning, localizing, and opening. So these parts are further explained by my partner Joe Morey, and I can explain the better half of it, which is crafting is a made of inquiry that generates knowledge as an intrinsic outcome through deep embodied engagement. The emergence of craft-based modes of inquiry in HCI raises questions of whether this practice of high-level attention to detail and application of dual skills and labor practices. Thank you so much.
Alright, so in this section, crafting is explored through Sennett's model of localization, questioning, and opening. Um, as a quick summary of each section, localization is basically you're finding out what's important in whatever you're crafting, kind of like localizing through like everything else that you see, and then questioning, you're reflecting on those qualities, and you're trying to understand like how it works, like what to do next, and then opening would be more you're solving the problem, you're adapting your new insights to the material at hand, you're actually acting upon it. Um, Going through them again a bit more in depth. Uh, Basically, localization has more than one approach that are kind of opposites. You kind of have you have a soft approach, which is more feeling one's way. Aspects are constantly renegotiated and rearranged intuitively. You kind of figure out as you go, like you see what's important. And then the opposite of that would be a more like engineering mindset. Everything is more meticulously planned. It's like more intellectual, like a blueprint of what you're doing. Like you know what you're gonna do. It's all like measured beforehand. less intuitive, I guess. But as long as you like know it works, it's really a good method. And then questioning, I feel like goes in hand with both localization and opening. You kind of use it basically throughout anything you do, but to put like it's basically just comparing like what you see and feel, like all the sensory knowledge with all your existing knowledge and experience, and you're like applying it, figuring out the next thing you're gonna do, which is opening, most likely more of like you're doing the action. Also with opening, much like localization, it has two main strategies. You have the more analytical one, which, for example, more specifically, people like the scientific method, like you'd go through the proper steps of experimenting and hypothesizing about things, and you'd find the correlations and causes. And then, on the other hand, there's like the more creative approach with creative mindset, where one would intuitively test things, see if they work, and use that to like inform how they're like solving or making the craft. But yeah, overall, I think knowing these aspects is really useful for getting a clear understanding on how this process of crafting unfolds and how people might apply it to more complex or even simple projects.
Analyzing craft-based research in HCI. One of the signifiers of craft practice is the intense engagement with the artifact by the practitioner. This aspect of craft, on the one hand, facilitates the formation of deep embodied knowledge, and on the other hand, this trait can become problematic in a research context, if the artifact and its visceral qualities assume such importance that they become goals in themselves, and the research objective subsequently becomes secondary. The desire for a job well done, which according to Sennett drives crafting practice as a motivator for the investment necessary to produce great results, has the potential of obsession. Most HCI today is far away from creating weapons of mass destruction, and craft-based approaches in particular are generally centered around soft aspects of technology. Also, this paper talks about 3 examples that were chosen due to their diversity and the availability of the author's description of and focus on their creative processes. The first example is called Bamboo Whisper. It explores how wearable technology could unfold if crafted from organic materials. The next one is Stitching Woods, which examines crafted logic by fashioning embroidered computers. Stitching Woods questions how can computing components be created through various fiber-based crafting techniques. And the last example is Hemiferous Kist, which explores the use of physical artifacts to share online content with populations devoid in digital skills, extracting one single technological function from a multifunctional device and making it meaningful through its physical embedding. Next is the knowledge creation through craft-based HCI. Craft practice is a complex system. Moreover, when extended to include computational technologies, it is not a simple matter to align and integrate digital and physical crafting processes. It goes well beyond learning to code and solder, and is as much a question of how the crafting researcher perceives and approaches the use of materials and techniques. In design research, the importance of experiential material engagement is widely recognized. As Karana writes, materials are like words. The richer one's vocabulary in materials, the larger is the number of design solutions that can be seen and expressed. In conclusion, to gain a better understanding of approaches and the potentials that research in HCI holds, this paper has addressed 2 questions. First, what are the defining characteristics of craft-based inquiry in HCI? And second, how can we understand and analyze the types and processes of knowledge creation that they entail? To do so, the paper has provided an overview over different strands of craft-based research in HCI and highlighted 3 characteristics that were observed to signify approaches to scientific inquiry. First is combining, aligning, and integrating analog and digital crafting techniques and processes. Second is creating highly refined artifacts defined by attention to detail and aesthetics. And lastly, creating knowledge through deep embodied engagement. One of the crucial challenges for crafting as a research approach in HCI is to examine and further develop ways of addressing how, when, and why such processes of knowledge translation are viable and productive.
And here is our reflections from each members in our group. So this is our presentation. Thank you for listening.